Hello and welcome to the Bald and Bloviating podcast. I am your bald host, Mookie Spitz, and I will be bloviating about the 3 types of manager. Which one is yours? Which one are you? The best way for me to avoid getting a real job in the 90s was to get a job in a nightclub. But who knew? One thing led to another, and before I knew it, I got promoted from barback to bartender to the manager of 1, then 2 busy nightclubs. I was in my mid-30s at this point, doing my best to stay a child and avoid all throes of adulthood, and I kept failing. But the experience was amazing and proved to be eminently educational. There's really nothing like the real world of vicious, narcissistic, and greedy party scenes to teach the essential lessons of running a business and understanding human nature. Small business owners and managers are a lot like cops. They see the best and worst of people, usually the worst, and they really get to understand and anticipate problems, personalities before they even present themselves. You gain this kind of sixth sense. And you really begin and end with the notion that everyone is suspect. And you really just have to look out for yourself, and in this case, the business, because all hell can break loose at any second. Nights I worked and did lines, and days I wrote for Nightlines and Outlines back then. They were free Chicago papers that were dedicated to the alternative community, the LGBTQ plus, etc. crowd, and focused a lot on the expansive bars and clubs where everyday cosplay played itself out in droves. So this post that I'm going to read was written from within the scene 3 decades ago. But the insights reinforced and expanded into the corporate world where I found myself after I had somehow grown up by accidentally knocking my kid's mom up. That's a whole separate posting and short story and podcast. But now I'm focusing on the business end of my variegated careers. And recently I've dusted off my columns from the 90s. I had an old computer disk drive that was pretty much fried out, a Gateway with a Pentium chip. Remember those? If you do, you're giving away your delicate youth or youthfulness. Anyway, I had the disk scraped onto a little memory card. I found the memory card, slipped it into a newer laptop, and out popped hundreds of my old columns, and it's been a real joy going through them, of which this one was the one about managing, in that case, a nightclub. But they've aged well, these columns, including this one, irreverent, funny, and especially in this case, bang on point. The lens back then was campy, but the raw truth speaks volumes. Again, that people suck, staff are worse, and there really are types, archetypes that people fall into. So let's take a look at the three, mindful of their expression in just about any business. You've seen them, you've endured them, you might even have been one of them. Let's check it out. Managerial type number one. I call this entity Mommy Dearest. In the crib, your parents supported you. In a private business, the owner supports you. Whether you like it or not, you are expendable and the owner isn't. Otherwise, get another job where, of course, the same rules are going to apply. Now, as a Mommy Dearest style of manager, you know this but can't accept it. Or if you have a Mommy Dearest manager, they know it and they refuse to accept it. Although the owner hired, trained, empowered, and pays their ass, they proclaim themselves queen and super boss, the final and lasting authority on premises. As such a manager, they use their power not to maximize business interests, but their own personal interests. They undermine the owner by being the staff's best friend, constantly culling favors and distributing awards, however unwarranted and undeserved. The staff becomes their family. They, their sacred yet sacrilegious mother, and everybody's happy, right? After all, you can all rally around the common enemy benefactor. The rallying cry being, fuck the man. Inevitably, such a traitorous, incestuous house of cards comes crashing down. Discipline impossible. This manager is always going to get used. They then try to win their kids back by giving even more unjustified and undeserved privileges. Of course, that just leads to further use and abuse. Mommy Dearest then freaks and overcompensates by rebuking staff in a manner completely devoid of all reason or context. Moods are explosive and arbitrary. The staff will start to hate them. Their decisions are irrational and destructive until the owner will eventually fire them. Wanting to have their title and their tricks too, they end up unemployed and rather dry, stirred, not shaken, until hired at the next gig where they do exactly the same thing, wreaking righteous vengeance. Fun type. I was not that type, although I had the opportunity to observe, and I would have to say endure a couple of these Mommy Dearest types, really destroying the boundary between personal life, social life, night life, and work life. What a thrill to just party all the time and make money and have people worship you. Best case scenario, right? Ugh. Anyway, I was more the managerial type 2. This one I could relate to. This one I pretty much embodied, and they are the Jedi Knight style of manager. So imagine that scene. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker are chilling in that bar full of freaky aliens. Remember in the first, arguably the best Star Wars movie? The funky Benny Goodman jazz music is playing. Now, the wizard, Obi-Wan, is congenial and friendly until provoked. Remember those two freaky guys? The bullies of the bar start hassling Luke, and it creates an incident. So everyone's minding their own business, and then all of a sudden, there's something going on. Now, how does Obi-Wan react? Out flies his trusty lightsaber. The trolls go down, dismembered, if I remember from the film. And then his weapon, just as rapidly and efficiently, is tucked away. No problem. Situation normalized. The music stops for a second, starts right back up. Everyone turns, goes right back to their drinks and bullshitting. Now, we all need social reinforcement. The entertainment environment, especially of these clubs, further fueled those flames as friendships, tricks, shared experiences whirl in an insatiable vortex of hysteria, pageantry, and shadiness. And as an aside, these managerial styles are evident even in the driest of corporate environments, as really demonstrated by my years in those entertainment environments as well. But anyway, wanting to have some fun, I mean, who wouldn't? After all, why take a job in the first place, as my anti-hero in my new novel says? Why even do a deal if you can't have any fun? Anyway, as the Jedi Knight style manager, you somehow balance fraternization with loyalty to the business owner, alongside the maintenance of control. Now, how do you pull this off? You accomplish this generally being chill until recognizing a problem, then responding spontaneously and aggressively whenever any situation, directly or indirectly threatens the status quo, the business, the security of staff or customers, shareholders. Since staff priorities are typically the exact opposite of owner interest, namely profitability, namely getting stuff done, namely having to work, just doing my job is taken by the minions as a betrayal, even signs of schizophrenia. They see your sole purpose is to avoid your managerial purpose. Remember, you are walking that balance beam. On the one side, you have the pressure point of being everyone's buddy, and on the other, maintaining a professional business where people actually have to get shit done and are accountable. So the way this plays out is 1 second you're one of the boys and girls partying and carrying on, and the next, instantly, you're reading employees for tardiness, inefficiency, bad attitude, disrespect, in this case, intoxication, vandalism, theft. You're reacting to a situation involving the security, their security, customer security, but mostly staff are like patrons. They don't pay attention. They don't care. So the James Bond question arises incessantly. Will I be loyal to my friends or the mission? As a Jedi manager, you keep your self-respect and job, for that matter, if you can, by ultimately respecting those above you, not below you. Eventually, though, the situation will reach a standoff. Although the owner can differentiate between a Mommy Dearest manager and a Jedi Knight manager, the staff can't and won't, and therefore will never be appeased. To them, you're just as whacked, the cycle continuing endlessly. Job security as a loyal manager is assured, but you've lost all your friends who are actually, hello, your direct reports, your subordinates. So the Jedi Knight, who tries to have it all by creating this passive aggressive environment of everything being totally cool until it isn't, and then when it isn't, you go ballistic. And then when the smoke clears, just like Obi-Wan, you put the lightsaber back, everything goes to normal. That's cool for you. You get it. Obviously, you're just doing your job. Nothing to see here. But from the staff's point of view, you're nuts. You're crazy. Why? Because they don't pay any attention and they don't give a shit. So where does that leave you? Well, you can either quit or become, and this is the third managerial type. I call them the Agent Smith type. Dressed like a Tarantino hoodlum with pricier suits. Remember Agent Smith of The Matrix? Had only one mission objective: to kick ass according to the commands of the mainframe bad guy computer. There's no compromise here. There's no having a good time. There's no partying with the boys and girls. There's no carousing with the staff. The boundaries are clear. You're hardwired into the man. And everyone knows this. You never smile, you never laugh, you never have a good time because you're just the instrument of control and profitability. Now, Agent Smith was one of these sentient programs who are everywhere and nowhere. They experience no conflict of interest, no questions of loyalty. And they're respected too. As viewers of the movie, we thought they were cool. After all, they're just doing their job and they did it well. They're hard hitting, non bullshitting, all business, kicking ass. You can call them Agent Smith or Agent Asshole, because that's what they are, and that's what they unabashedly remain, without any ambiguity or confusion. They never fraternize or screw the staff or customers. They never party. They walk around stone-faced, eternally vigilant, making no small talk, never asking for nor giving any favors. Totally sacrificing friendship for pure professionalism, arbitrary personal morality for sound business ethics. They make no compromises and therefore can never be compromised. Loyalty is toward nothing but the mission, namely the job description, and they work for nobody but the mainframe boss guy computer, or in this case, the owner or the shareholders, defending that interest incessantly and exclusively. So their powers go beyond just profit maximization. They maintain discipline in an effortless and simple way, since their motivation remains totally apparent and unambiguous. There's zero confusion here, zero overthinking, zero posturing. Now, the irony here is, of course, that such a disposition works better for staff, too. since their decisions can never be second guessed and the emphasis is placed where it belongs, solely on job performance. There's no favorites here. There's no feeling of unfairness usually. Everyone's treated equally. They are an asshole to all. So, of the three, the best choice to take as a manager, and arguably the best kind of manager, and I believe this to this day, is this Agent Smith type. Although they're a pill, not red, not blue, just a pill, you can never be used. They can never be used. And they're feared, respected, and their job security is usually assured as long as the business keeps doing what it should be doing, of which the probability is greatly heightened by them doing theirs. Now, the only thing, aside from all of this straightforward coolness of it, is that dressed and acting like this, they might as well be a pit manager at Caesars or selling bonds for Morgan Stanley. Once they've learned all the lessons, what's next? There's nothing more dull than doing a job that's really just a job. So, in summary, managers come in these three types, described based on their behaviors and the implications based on where they put their priorities. There's the mommy dearest who placates staff but gets no respect and is ultimately steamrolled. You got the Jedi Knight. That's the kind of manager I was, trying to balance friendship with professionalism and ruining both. That's definitely me, or the way I was. And the Agent Smith type, who's the best for business but is the least fun, and if you ask me, just you wonder if it's worth it at all. I mean, with Mommy Dearest, at least you could play queen of your castle for a while until it all's just, washed away. And the Jedi Knight can have some fun too, even if staff thinks you're crazy and eventually the gig is up. But this Agent Smith type is boring. And again, you might as well just do something else, if you ask me. So does that make management intractable? I don't know. Depends. I know that all managers come to the conclusion that most people suck and that their job is a grind. I think people really satisfied with their jobs are creators who make things and folks who involve themselves in some adventure and kind of stake their own claim, like maybe pilots. But managers, ask one. They'll make a face, and in that face you'll be able to tell instantly which of these three they are. So the bottom line with all this is work is work. If you want to have fun, stay home or get a job where you don't have any real responsibility or direct reports. Or become an artist. See if you can make it. Even if you don't make it, it's probably better than being a manager. I hope you enjoyed. I had fun digging this guy up. If you got your own experiences, I'd love to hear about them. I've got another blog post about the different types of horrible managers. I'll put that in the description too. It's very, very entertaining. Thanks for listening. More to come on bald and bloviating.